claim that President Tsai can come to this country. In order to avoid my quote unquote what you say, why don't you say it by yourself so that people will believe it?
Well, I as soon as possible, I would love to see President Tsai come to the United States. You know, it may take some time because right now the president is going to be negotiating with Kim Jong-un about North Korea, and I think that's his priority right now. And he's been successful in kind of being aggressive with China on trade and a whole lot of other things to get them to put pressure on North Korea. So I think that's his priority right now. I think maybe once we get past that, there's a lot better chance for this to happen. And it's been suggested to me that perhaps in my next term, if we can't get it done this year, although I wouldn't rule it out, but if we can't get it done yet this year, in my next term, that will be a priority, and we can work on the speaker, who will probably be a different speaker at that time, you know. But because Paul Ryan, of course, has announced that he's not running for re-election, so it will definitely be another speaker next time. But I haven't given up on this year yet. If we can do it this year, you know, we'll certainly try.
Well, that means we have to guarantee you to get elected first.
Yeah, well, that would be helpful. Yes. Yeah. And I do have a pretty challenging race this time, just in case you were wondering about that. My opponent has been raising a lot of money. He raised $660,000 in the first quarter, which is a lot more than we raised in the first quarter. So we're trying to step up our fundraising as well. But I won by 18 points last time, so it'd probably be less than 18 points. But I feel confident that we'll win. But you know, they're targeting me. You know, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats in Washington, I'm on their target list this time. I haven't been on that target list the last 1, 2, 3 races. You know. So this is the first time since, you might remember I lost my seat back in 2008 when Barack Obama beat McCain in my district by 11% and I lost. But then 2 years later, in 2010, I won my seat back again, and I've been there since. But I haven't had a real tough race since then. But this year is my toughest race. So, so we definitely do need the help. And thank you all for helping in the past, and thank you for helping me in the future. So we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
You can count on us.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's officially go back to discussion.
Okay.
We're still in item 1, PTA implementation.
Okay.
The last bullet, I don't know why this Professor Penn, he like this John Bolton. He was asking that if John can be invited to Taiwan to attend this so-called AIT relocation ceremony.
John Bolton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Would it be possible?
It would be possible. You know, I obviously can't speak for John Bolton, but he's the new national security advisor to the president. A very important person. He actually, John Bolton came here to Cincinnati to do an event for me last year. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I know him pretty well. He's the guy that has the big walrus mustache.
That's right.
But the kind of old-fashioned mustache.
Was he in Taiwan before?
I'm sure he's been in Taiwan before, because he is really an expert on foreign policy issues.
I got the impression that you were in Taiwan.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that he's been in Taiwan, and probably a number of times. But we can certainly work on that. And the good thing about having Kevin in my care is all these things that you're asking us to work on, they will remind me about that, so they're keeping mental notes.
Ah, that's good. Would that mean so we have to call you every week?
Well, we travel in pairs, so one of us will remember.
Yeah, one of them will remember. Yeah. Together you have one great brain here, but no, very, very good.
That's very nice. I'm very pleased to hear that you know Jiang so well. And,
Yeah, I do know John Bolton very well, yeah, and I'd love to have him come to Taiwan.
Yeah, but this is only within
With the
about 2 months.
AIT, yeah.
within
Yeah.
about
Yeah, the
2
new,
months.
the new AIT, yeah.
Yeah, new AIT. Very good.
Yeah,
So,
Excuse me, CC. Don't worry about Steve, Congressman. Well, forget this issue. This is a minor issue to a congressman. Why? Because I have something in writing. You can promote the need to or advise John Bolton to do this, to attend the ceremony, opening ceremony of ATT.
Yeah, that'll make it even easier to remember.
another one.
Yeah,
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you.
And Kevin's going back to Washington, probably, I won't be back there till next week. When are you having up there, Kevin?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. So to make it easier, I'm going to give this to Kevin, who's going to get there. So we'll make sure that it gets to Washington more quickly.
Wonderful.
Steve, I have a question for you.
Yes.
In the past, until we have a new Secretary of State, the State Department has been our problem.
Yes, that's
Because
very true.
they are the pro-China
Yeah.
instead of pro-Taiwan. And they have been the most resistant on the China cause, preventing us from getting a lot of support from,
Yeah, that's very true.
from the Congress that they
Very
already
true.
given. So how is the new Secretary of State
Yeah,
been appointed now, been approved now?
yeah.
How does that change the State Department attitude?
Well, Pompeo has a reputation for being a real straight shooter. He's tough. I know him pretty well because when I won my seat back in 2010, he won a seat in Congress for the first time. So we got elected together in the same class. And in Congress, it's kind of like high school. Whatever class you come in, you kind of stick together to some degree, and you kind of know each other and that sort of thing, even better. So he's a friend, and he actually is, he's very, very well qualified too. He went to West Point, and he graduated #1 in his class at West Point. So that tells you he's a pretty smart guy. And then he was a captain in the United States Army. He got elected to Congress. He was the head of our CIA,
Right.
so he was picked for that. So I mean, you're talking about a top-notch person here, and he's known to be, more of, for lack of a better term, kind of aggressive, kind of a hawkish kind of guy,
Yeah, but
like
the
Bolton is
problem is
too.
the bureaucrat in the State Department.
Yeah, the bureaucrats have been there, and that'll continue to be at least somewhat of a problem because a lot of the people that are in the State Department, they're lifers, more or less.
Right.
They stay there no matter what administration is in there.
Exactly.
Now you get to put the top guy in, and that's what he is. But they don't always respond necessarily. And you're right. The State Department over the years has been a problem when it comes to Taiwan. If you're pro-Taiwan.
The view from Taiwan is that Mr. Pompeo will be pro-Taiwan.
I think that's right.
Are we wrong on that? Or?
No, I think you're right. I can't, I can't speak for him obviously myself, but what I know about him, I would be surprised if he didn't turn out to be quite pro-Taiwan.
okay, let's continue to item 2. Oh, you have a question?
Some comments,
Oh, comment.
very long comments.
Go ahead.
My first son-in-law went to West Point, so I know that he is very smart.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
About the visiting of Thai to address Congress, I would suggest that you read when Madame Chiang Kai-shek did it in 1943.
Oh, is that? Why is that?
Huh?
Why is that?
Well, just go and read the story. Okay. Now I have 2 questions that I must have answers tonight.
Okay.
All right. Simple ones. The first one, a tale of 3 letters that you sent to Chen, Tsai, and Wu. What happened? That they did not receive for 1.5 months, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And eventually, through my contact, President Chen said that indeed he did not receive it, but the next day he received it right away.
Yeah.
That somebody delivered it to his residence.
Yeah.
Were they the same letter or the only
It
one?
was the same letter. Do you remember? It took 6 weeks to get there. It got held up somewhere, but I don't recall.
Yeah, I mean, we gave it to the Tecro
Yeah.
in Washington, 3 weeks before?
I heard 6 weeks, but a
6
long
weeks.
time. Yeah, it was a long time before.
They had it, they knew, there was no secret. But physically, apparently, it did not get delivered physically, but it was out there.
So that was the normal procedure that you didn't mail it by?
It's the normal procedure that we did, but it seemed to take way too long for it to get there. And why that took that long, I honestly don't
Because it
know.
was reported by a local newspaper and also mentioned at the TV station when you are going to have an interview tonight. So people in Taiwan knows about it.
Yeah,
My sister in Taiwan knows about it, told me about it.
yeah. Yeah.
Another question that I put it down so it won't take long, about the Taiwan Travel Act.
Yes.
Everybody's happy about it. I'm happy about it also. But I still have to ask a question.
Sure.
Was the TTA created to replace an existing act which prohibited the visiting of high officials between the two country governments? If so, then what was the rescinded act before it? Or if not, then why is there a necessity
Yeah.
to have a new act?
Yeah, it was a State Department policy, basically, that they went by in the State Department, as was mentioned. And it was something that was certainly not in Taiwan's favor. So since we don't, in Congress, we don't control the State Department, we decided to pass a resolution, since we're the elected representatives of the American people. So I introduced the bill, and it passed in committee, and it was introduced in the Senate, and they passed it in committee, and then it went to the floor of the House and the floor of the Senate. It was passed by both bodies and went to President Trump's desk, and then he signed it into law. So we did do it to get rid of that State Department policy, and so now both sides can visit the other country. Now the State Department can still advise the president, and the Secretary of State is the head of the State Department. So we can't make him do anything, but now he has the blessing of the United States Congress, and not just the blessing, but it says in there it's a law, and it says that not only can he go, but we're saying they should go. So it's an affirmative in the resolution. If you read it, it says not just they can do it, but they should do it.
But is there any way you can speed it up? I mean, see, the State Department is gonna drag their feet for those bureaucrats.
Yeah.
It
Well,
just
it's up
said,
to the
how can
Secretary
you
of
get
State
them
now.
to
Yeah.
act according to the law faster?
Well, we're a second branch of government. You know, you have the
Right.
legislative branch, the
Right.
Congress, we make the laws. Then you got the executive branch, that's the president and the departments under him, and that would also include the State Department.
Right.
They execute the laws, they
Right.
carry the laws out. And then you got a third branch of government, the
Yeah.
judicial branch, the
Yeah.
courts. And they interpret the laws if there's some question about the constitutionality of something. So the first branch, the legislative branch, has passed it and says, you can do it. And in fact, we're not only saying you can do it, but you should do it, visit back and forth. But it's up to them at that point to then execute it, to actually do it. And we can't make them do it. You know, we can advise them to do it, which we have. But again, there's a new sheriff in town, you know, at the presidential level and in the State Department. And Tillerson was more of a business guy, and China, you know, from a business perspective, China's much more powerful than Taiwan. A lot more money involved, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So I think he looked at it from more of a business perspective. I think Pompeo will look at it not just from a business perspective, but also what's in the best interest of the United States and what's in the best interest of our allies. And so I would expect more positive action by this new Secretary of State. And his advisor, the National Security Advisor, John Bolton, I would also expect more action there too.
Very good. Maybe that's why Professor Pan want to talk to him about that.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue to. Okay. Here's a lady.
Sure. Hi.
可以啦。当请伊讲吼，请咱台湾的总统吼蔡英文来美国访问，可以吗？
Okay.
谢
So
谢。
we have a ladies talk. We have to listen more carefully.
Okay.
Okay. I assume you know Taiwanese by now.
No, Mike knows it.
Not me.
Because you talk to CT so often, I thought you might know Taiwanese by now.
I know Shabbat means summer breeze, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. At least that's what he
Summer
told me.
wave.
Summer wave, yeah, summer waves.
In
Yeah.
other words, hot air.
Wait a minute. It's hot. It's hot. Yeah, and this guy works for me too.
No. Okay. Anyway, if you do not know Taiwanese, let me take the chance to
Okay.
say what did she say? What she means is, from women's point of view, she would like to see President Tsai be invited to this country.
Yeah.
Do you have a special answer to our young pretty lady?
Yeah, I would love to see President Tsai come to our country, and I hope it happens soon. And we will work with the Speaker of the House and other members of Congress to help to do whatever we can to bring that about. I can't promise when it'll be, but I certainly expect it to happen, and hopefully, as I say, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, very good. Let me do a little commercial for her,
Okay.
because she asked a question.
Okay.
She is running a very successful alteration shop. In case you need any alteration, please come to see her.
Okay, very good. Thank
We'll
you.
give you an 80% discount.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, let's talk to item 2. We know that recently China has been doing the so-called military exercise around Taiwan. Now, if all suddenly China turn their airplane 90 degrees, they will be on Taiwan's airspace. Or if they suddenly attack Taiwan, will American help Taiwan?
I have no doubt in my mind that America would come to Taiwan's aid. I have no question at all.
Based on what?
Based on what I know about this president, if you look at what he's done so far, based upon our commitment, based upon the Taiwan Relations Act, so I'm quite confident that the United States would come to the defense of Taiwan.
That's part of the Taiwan Relation Act,
Yeah,
which has been passed for 20 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the things. Yeah.
Good. I should ask this question before we eat, so that everybody can digest better.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true.
That's bullet 2, bullet 3 in item 2 is not that important. Forget about China. Let's talk about item 3, Taiwan issue. This question was posed by Professor Pan.
Okay.
He was asking that not too long ago, one of Taiwan NGO organization, this NGO is called Formosa Alliance. They call it 喜乐岛 in Taiwanese name. They are organizing, their purpose is to push for Taiwan independence. The question is, will Trump administration support their movement?
I don't think that the Trump administration will be anxious to interject itself into that right now. I think the Trump administration would prefer to see stability in the region, and ultimately that's a decision for the people of Taiwan to make. But I think down the road sometime, not right now.
I see. If this NGO push for referendum, for example, what will be Americans' reaction?
Well, I can't speak again for the State Department, but I think knowing what I know about the way they think, I think they'd prefer again to have that not right now.
Not right now.
Yeah, because we're in serious negotiations relative to North Korea, and I think the administration would probably view that as
Top priority.
yeah, that is top priority, and that this could be a distraction from, and they need China right now in this, so it wouldn't be good timing, I don't think.
But when you say they need China, do you mean that they don't need Taiwan?
I don't know what you said. I didn't quite catch it.
You say he need China. I'm saying that then he does not need Taiwan.
Oh no! I mean,
joking.
yeah, no. I just mean he needs China to pressure the North Koreans to cooperate in getting rid of their nuclear program. That's what I
right.
think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next bullet
Excuse
item.
me.
Yeah.
The coming year, Taiwan will have referendum. And that's probably, it is after your election. I hope you were ready there. But they are working hard for referendum next year. And I was asked to present this to you, to explain to you why U.S. Congress should support referendum. So,
But is it a referendum on independence? Is that what it is?
No.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know the question yet. But
So a referendum on
Referendum
something we
is
don't
an
know what
act.
it is? Yeah.
this is the information right here.
Okay.
It's very, I think we have a 3 pages information here. And I would like to give it to you to fulfill my duty to them. And this is, I guess, we pass to
Probably to Kevin, yeah. I mean, we'll look at it. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Kevin, you don't know what's in there. Yeah, other than.
So please look over, and you can support as you can, due to the fact that they are looking for some support for this referendum. But like I say, I'm not sure the language in there.
Well, is it in Taiwanese or is it in?
Good question.
Actually, this is in Korean.
Or Korean?
In that case.
Okay. All right.
It's Greek to me. Yeah. But we'll have somebody interpret it and see what.
Very good. Okay,
Very good.
let's continue to the item that sometimes ago the newspaper are saying that American would have the so-called Taiwan Security Act. Now the Taiwan people would like to know how is the progress of this act now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's a House version of this. It's in the Senate, and it was introduced.
Bill that was introduced by McCall, but nothing has happened.
Oh, he did introduce something? Okay, the only thing I saw was the Senate bill, so we'll have to check with McCall, because I'm not familiar with
Who
it,
is
other than to
McCall?
see it cotton.
He's a member of
From
the
Texas.
Foreign Affairs Committee, and it's been referred to the Foreign Affairs Committee, but I don't think any action's been taken so
Yeah.
far.
Oh.
Yeah, we haven't taken it up yet, but I know Cotton introduced it over in the Senate. And in general, what it does is it encourages the U.S. and Taiwan militaries, the top people, to work closely together and perhaps have ports of call of our ships there and their ships here, all of which I would support.
I see.
And so, but we'll check on the bill and see, what the next step is in the House.
So the act is not dead yet. It is still
Certainly
there.
not. Well, yeah, to be honest with you, I wasn't even aware of McCall. I knew that it was introduced in the Senate by Cotton. So we'll
I think
have
I'm
to,
right,
we have to
anyway,
look
that
at
was
it.
introduced by McCall.
Ah.
The Taiwan Travel Act kind of took all the
Yeah.
attention of the committee for a while, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
we'll be happy to look at it, but
Okay.
but that's all I know about it, really.
Okay. Then the next issue about Taiwan is this WHA or WHO issue. Again, because of China's interference, Taiwan has been blocked out for many years. can America do something?
Well, I think the U.S. should continue to speak out and to try to get our allies, whether it's, Japan, South Korea, Australia, or other allies to encourage the UN and all international organizations to allow Taiwan to participate. I would argue full status, or at the very least observer status in some of these instances. But the PRC has thrown its weight around and its money around, and has been successful thus far in blocking Taiwan in a lot of these things. And I think it's absolutely outrageous that much of the world has bowed to this bullying by the PRC.
Okay. So do you think we get any chance this year or not?
Well, I mean, the best way to figure out this year is to look what happened last year and the year before that and the year before that. We haven't had a lot of success.
Exactly.
So I don't want to come here and tell you something that, you might want to hear, but it's not true. I'd rather be honest with you. And I'm just, unless the rest of the countries are willing to stand up to China, which most of them are not, I don't anticipate a lot of progress in the near term.
Okay.
Susie,
Yes.
can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're the big person. You always can comment on anything.
On this particular issue, I have to thank you, Steve, Congressman. You introduced myself to talk to the Secretary of Health and Human Service in 1 year. And both of us talked to each other in Geneva, Switzerland. And we try, even through you and the Secretary of State Health and Human Services. And we try in vain. So, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your help and introduction to the Secretary. And secondly, it's really tough. Okay? So, you have done trying, but don't give up.
No, I won't give up. I'm not going to give up. We'll keep trying.
Thank you.
If I may, I have a message to convey to you, to the party, from a good friend of mine in Taiwan,
Oh, really?
by the name of Dr. Jerome Keating. Maybe some of you know him. We always write each other about baseball. Just a couple of nights ago, he wrote me and said, there should be a congressional investigation why the Reds are losing so many games.
I agree with them.
And I thought to myself, P. Rose is not in the baseball. Where is that anything to be investigated? Then I wrote, talking about congressional investigation, we are going to have a dinner with Steve Chabot. Then he quickly wrote me this message for the party. All right. He said, one point that should be brought up is getting Taiwan an invitation to the WHA, just the topic. As they say, disease knows no borders, and for the mid-sized country like Taiwan, with the world-class single-payer healthcare system, I did not know what that system is. I looked it up. I said, Medicare. That covers 97% of the people in Taiwan. It is idiotic that they should not be there. Taiwan should not be there. In fact, they should be there as a consultant showing others how it can be done. It is time to end this charade. That endangers. I'm a Taiwanese. That endangers the world. So that's a message from Dr. Jerome Keating. He had been living in Taiwan for some 30 years. He is a Taiwanese son-in-law.
And he just sent you the message as of now?
I almost forgot after I asked 2 questions. Now I have done my job.
Professor Wang has a connection everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. Disease knows no borders.
Yeah.
And we saw that in the SARS is a good example of that. And Taiwan was ahead of most of the other countries, and their expertise could have been used to the benefit of other countries, but the PRC said no. You know, and other countries, you know, bowed to China, and they should have
Just
done
look
that.
at the CT, you know Taiwan is very advanced
Absolutely.
in medicine.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
Okay, so we have about 5 to 10 minutes.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
If you plan to retire from Congress, would you take a shot at being a Secretary of State?
I have no plans on retiring from Congress, so, but I'll let the future take care of itself. But I really do enjoy the job, you know, and it allows me to advocate for the best interest of the United States, but then also other countries who I respect a great deal, and Taiwan is at or near the top of that list, so.
Well, I said this because that should be an excellent way of dealing with the problem.
Yeah.
Like Secretary, what
Yeah.
you did, what
Yeah.
you do today.
Yeah. Well, I like what I'm doing, so I'm probably going to stick with that. But if I should ever retire and some president wants to appoint me Secretary of State, well, you know, we'll see.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Let me mention something about that banner.
Yes.
That banner, the North Gate, that was built in Qing Dynasty. Qing Dynasty is the last emperor in China.
Yeah.
Qing Dynasty was in Taiwan for 212 years.
Wow.
And if I remember correctly, maybe Dr. Chen can help me, when Japan came to Taiwan after the Shimonoseki Peace Treaty, 1895,
Yeah.
their people came through that gate
Oh,
to
really?
occupy Taiwan, to repress Qing. So that is Taiwan Travel Act in
Amen.
Norway.
Very good.
It's a good history lesson. Thank you.
That is,
Professor Wang
that is
also-
near Taipei Station.
Yeah.
Train station.
Professor Wang also teaching Taiwan history at the UC, right?
You see?
Yeah.
Early program for seniors.
Oh, okay.
I've been teaching for 8 years.
Ah, very good.
I'm
For the program.
Okay. Yeah. So
people know about you.
TV people. I was asking you.
do I want to what?
Use this opportunity to promote you.
During the interview.
Kevin, do you know what they're? Once you see if you can figure this out, will you? Sure. Yeah. Just figure it out. They're talking about, do you want it to promote your campaigns? I want to make sure we don't step across. So figure it out.
Okay, we have,
This TV station is asking to promote your campaigns. I just want to make sure that we're not. Well, we'll just figure it out with him.
This is a message from our.
okay, we have about 5 minutes for Q&A for anybody who has a quick question or quick answers. I'm looking at the Professor Wang. If you don't have question, nobody has question.
Okay.
You know, Steve,
Yes.
the referendum, the CT was mentioned, actually was to revise or correct the Taiwan's constitution. See, Taiwan
that's the resolution
constitution.
here that you
Yeah,
were
the one where you're talking about the referendum, give it a letter.
Okay.
I think the referendum was trying to modify or change the constitution that is governing Taiwan today, which is Republic of China. See, the constitution was made in Nanking, 1943,
Okay.
which is 2 years before the World War II ends. At that time, that constitution does not include Taiwan. That constitution, Republic of China, include Outer Mongolia, Inner Mongolia, Tibet, but not Taiwan. And that's the one constitution that is being used in Taiwan. That's why it's called
So this is
Republic of
this is a-
China. It's not Taiwan.
Yeah,
So what the referendum is trying to do is to change it to Taiwan,
yeah, okay.
which is Taiwan proper, Pescado, and then the two offshore islands of China. So that would become official. If that is become official, then we would have the foundation to say, China, you are China, we are Taiwan. So that's the referendum that of the modifying, changing the constitution by popular vote.
Okay. I had not heard that. So
That's the one that we were
helps
talking
explain
about.
it, yeah.
It's a,
If they get it done, then I think we had legitimate reason to say we are independent country.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, my comment, if I'm asked for a comment, would be that, you know, that my opinion has always been that the people of Taiwan, their future and their
Determined
status
by
is
Taiwanese.
be determined by the people of Taiwan,
Right.
and that I wouldn't, as a member of Congress, interject myself into that
That's
process.
right.
That's up to the people of Taiwan.
I think
to
that
determine.
Taiwan has to do that first
Yeah.
before you can become independent country.
Yeah, again, that would be for the people of Taiwan, not me to
That's
determine.
right. That's right.
A quick comment, because I mentioned it, so I wanted to follow it up, about the Madame Chiang Kai-shek's visit and address Congress in 1943. You know how much money the United States gave her?
I have no idea.
At that time, it's $3.8 billion.
3 billion?
It's 3 billions, and the Chang's family, Song's family, took 750 millions out of it and invested in Manhattan, New York, and Sao Paulo in Brazil.
No kidding.
No? Okay. In today's money, that is about 78% of the total educational budget of last year. That money,
In Taiwan?
no, in the States.
In the US?
Yeah, that money I calculated, it's about 78% of the total educational budget in the States, which was given to Chang's troop or government or somebody there, and they still lost China with that kind of help.
Steve, don't be
1943.
scared. Don't be scared by what he say about the money. President Tsai will not ask him money from the United States.
So much is going on
Okay.
in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I think last question if you may have.
Okay.
Okay. So I think.
Even you have a question, we are going to take 20 minutes break. So Terry Chen can get all the equipment together for 8:30 live interview between here and Taiwan.
Okay.
Okay, so you can do whatever you want to do in the 20 minutes time, and you want to ask Congressman some question, you can do it. You can do take whatever you want to do, go ahead. Okay, but remember, during the lifetime interview, please turn off your iPhone, so it doesn't affect, not right now, doesn't affect the interview. Okay.
Are we going to show it, see them?
Oh yeah, you see that TV.
Yeah, there's a
TV.
TV, so
Yeah.
that's why we need to, take a break so Terry can hook